everyone, welcome to Mad for Editing. My name is Madeline and today we are going to be editing a college English paper. This student did give me permission to edit his paper for this video and record it. I do tend to go a little bit harder on my editing for peers' papers than most people do. I'm just very detail oriented when it comes to grammar and things like that. So I do try to be nice. In this video, I will be editing a fellow student's paper and explaining my reasonings for the things that I did. I hope you guys find this helpful in your everyday writing and editing. First things first is you want to make sure that you're tracking changes, so you have that on. I'm adding a comma here because First Lieutenant Jimmy Cross is not essential to the sentence. If it were, then we wouldn't need commas there, but because it's not and the sentence would make perfect sense without it, then we are going to put commas around it to separate it from the rest of the sentence. Sometimes I'm not sure if a comma needs to be there or not, so in cases like this, I'll just leave a comment saying that, and I'll leave the choice up to them if they want to keep it or not. One thing that really bugs me a lot is when people use the same word too many times in a sentence, too close together, and so sometimes I'll just leave a comment asking if they can just reword it a little bit so that they're not repeating the same word. This is another example of a phrase that may not be essential to a sentence, so that's why I put a comma before both. We also use commas after introductory words or phrases such as in retrospect. Because United States in this context is a plural possessive noun ending in an S, we're going to add an apostrophe at the end of the word. Because I'm not sure if this is the correct way to address this reference in this context, I'm just leaving a comment to ask them to make sure in the MLA style book. I would do it for them, but I'm not getting paid for this, so. This isn't a grammatical error, but rather a personal preference. I believe that it would sound better with own in front of harrowing, but you never want to just change something like that. You should always add a comment instead because you don't want to change the writer's words. So I know what's wrong with this part here, but I have no clue how to explain it. Hopefully you can see maybe how it's a little bit off, so I just left a comment saying that it was a little weird to me. Here I'm pretty sure I know what the author is trying to say, but I did not want to impose or assume anything too much, so with the word current, it just did not fit here. So I left a comment with a suggestion that I think would work well, which I do often. Here there is no assumption or anything like that. I know what he's trying to say. He just put it in the wrong order, so that's why I am actually changing it rather than just leaving a comment. There are a couple of ways that this could have gone. I just chose the easiest fix for me. A lot of times grammar will have different things that you can do, but if you want further explanation, I'll just put that in the description box. This is a case where I would normally just fix it without any comments or anything, but because this isn't a quote, and we do not change anything within quotations, I just left a comment because maybe there was something lost in the translation of copy and paste or something like that, so yeah. Here I was trying to add a subject to the sentence because there wasn't one, but I only just now realized that I put it in the wrong place. It should have said, using this theory helps readers to see, but I accidentally said, using this theory helps to readers see. So that's my bad. It's very important in writing to keep your wording concise, so that's why I left this comment for the author that he could cut down his word count. One thing that they don't teach you in high school that they really should, because it's very important in writing, is using active voice instead of passive voice. The biggest reason that we try to use active voice instead of passive voice is for clarity. So that's why I made this comment here about what this character is trying to resist. One easy way to know when you can definitely cut down your sentence is when you're using passive voice instead of active voice. Passive voice is when you use to be verbs such as be, is, was, am, are, those kinds of words. An example of passive voice would be if you said, Susie was kicked by Johnny, when active voice would say, Johnny kicked Susie. There are times when it is acceptable to use passive voice, such as mostly just when you don't know the subject of the sentence, like if we didn't know who kicked Susie, we just know someone kicked Susie. So we could say Susie was kicked. But in most instances, it is much, much better to use active voice than passive voice. If you ever come across a word that you don't really know exactly what it means or how it's supposed to be used in different contexts, then it's always just a good idea to look it up really quick and make sure that the author is using it correctly. I knew that this was a possessive word, but I couldn't remember if the author had been using reader plural or singularly, so I could know where to put the apostrophe. So I just searched at the top for reader to see if he had been using it plural or singularly and acted accordingly. Earlier, I neglected to acknowledge Kurt Lemon's name and how he should be referred to in this paper. I'm used to editing kind of newsy articles, in which case usually we refer to people using their last name after first reference. But I'm not sure if there are any rules regarding that in MLA format, so I'm just asking the author to check up on that. Sometimes it's just best for the author to come up with the solution to a sentence because it's just really hard to figure out how to explain or come up with a solution yourself. So sometimes it's just best to let the author do it. It's really interesting to me how often we can just remove some words from a sentence without it really changing the meaning of the sentence at all. And this is just one of those examples. Sometimes people just blank a little bit when writing. I think he just forgot a couple words, but that's okay. I definitely should have left a comment here instead of just editing it, and I feel a little bit bad for that. I changed the whole subject of this little part of the sentence, and I feel kind of bad for that, but hopefully it's okay. Here's just another instance of where they could easily cut the sentence down and just make it flow better and be more concise. Maybe it was just me, but I read this physical equipment the soldiers carried can easily be changed out or replaced as talking about their guns could be replaced with bows and arrows or something like that, but I know that that's not what he intended to mean, so that's why I just left a comment here on that. And that is the end of his paper. I hope that was helpful to anyone watching. I really think this student did a good job and deserves a good grade. I have edited far worse papers. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like on this video and subscribe for more grammar and editing content. Thanks. Bye.